Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, so full disclosure, I've listened to the album twice and I love it so far. Cover to cover, I really love it. I'd probably off the rip give it like an 8 out of 10, I think, as a whole project, with really good score. Don't get mistaken. A really good score. And so I don't like to do traditional like reaction videos or reviews where I'm just gonna sit down and tell you my opinions. I'd rather break it down bit by bit. And so I thought, what's a better way to do that than let's just run a whole tier list. Let's run down the whole tier list. So I already devised all 19 tracks here in a tier list, and because I totally understand that just numbering it might be a little confusing, I got the track list right here and we're gonna go track by track. Again, I've only listened to it twice. It just came out today, so I might listen to a little snippet every now and just to get an idea. Track number 1, Renaissance. Now this is a thing that kind of peeves me about this album a little bit, is there's unmarked skit, things that are technically just skits that aren't marked as skits. I don't know if this is because he didn't want people to skip it because it's like important to the story, but see, something like Trouble or Renaissance, they're really just skits. Because of that, Renaissance, it's really not a song. I don't even know if I should include it on the list. However, we do start out the album with a haktua. With a haktua. I think we could put Renaissance, the track number 1. I'll give it an A. I'll give it an A because it's an interval skit. It does tell us, it's the opening. It tells us where we're going with the story. It gives us a feel, and then it jumps straight into Habits with White Gold, so like this first half of the album is kind of like it's Eminem trying to get himself canceled, or it's Slim Shady trying to get Eminem canceled. So it all kind of has this kind of sameness feel to it, if that's just how I feel at the moment. But Habits nonetheless is really good. It's punchline filled. It's really catchy. I really mess with it in that way. So I think I'm also going to throw this bad boy at A tier. Just right out the gate, starts with all the transphobic bars, the Bruce Jenner shout outs, like all this. I do like the little switch up towards the back half of Habits, and White Gold's addition was much appreciated. I really do love White Gold. And then we get on to Trouble, where Slim Shady makes M relapse. And then basically we get Shady's whole motivation. It's like, yeah, like the whole like we need each other thing. I think I'll put that at B list, just because, I mean, again, it continues the story. This is a whole like conceptual album, so it's important. It's an important addition. But I don't know, would it really have killed him to put that at the back half of Habits, or the back half of Habits, or even at the beginning of Brand New Dance, just because it flows so perfectly into Brand New Dance. So this was ripped straight out of Encore. He was going to do this thing basically where he was going to put this song on Encore, basically like a diss track to Christopher Reeves. And later on in the album, on Guilty Conscience, they talk about it, where it's like they didn't want to release this. Eventually didn't want to release the song because Christopher Reeves died, and it's just like obviously in poor taste. The whole song is in incredibly poor taste, but it's like classic Slim. And so it's funny. It is absolutely funny in like a really dark and twisted way. But the song itself, I don't know if it has a ton of replay value. Again, I'll be listening to this album more. I've only heard it twice, but I just don't know how much replay value it has at the moment. So as of right now, I'm gonna put it at the B slot. And then that brings us into Evil. Now this just sounds like old school early 2000s M. Like, I love the melodic pockets that we get him in. He's on demon time. These next couple tracks, he is on just straight demon time. Just coming after everyone and anyone. I believe we get Slim Shady saying that he's gay. Love to hear that. All kinds of good stuff on here. And it's like, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know if this whole, like, this top half of the album is kind of like, it lacks a bit of heart to it, if honest. It doesn't have a lot of purpose in these tracks. It's just literally like he's just trying to say offensive shit to get people mad, you know? But for the music in itself, I'd say it's still really good. We have not had an S tier track just yet, but we are getting. And I feel like after this point, this album really starts to get a heart, a soul, a direction. The All You Got skit, track number 6, I'm just gonna throw it up at A tier, and I'll explain. Like, up until this point, it was kind of like, or almost like the top couple skits kind of just remind me of Eminem LP2 on Bad Guy. But this one, All You Got, is really like, I don't know, it just connects. I really wouldn't mind if this was at the front of Lucifer, just so I could hear that every single time. And then, as I said, we get into Lucifer, and and this is like full on relentless Eminem. I love this beat. This beat is so good, and the hook itself, I really love that too. Sly Piper. I'm happy that these features popped up on here, and like within the past couple hours, we get the whole Candace Owens diss track. Like, my goodness, my goodness. Yeah, like the first couple tracks, like Evil, like Habits, they're good musically. There's nothing wrong with them musically, but I think that we're starting to get a lot more purpose with the bars. It is controversial and it's edgy and it's trying to make people mad, but it has more to it. That makes it has more direction, has more purpose with the bars. You can tell like some of these things, like Eminem actually like noticed things in the world going on, and this made him formulate bars. I'll put Lucifer A. I'm putting Lucifer S tier. That's going to be my first S tier of the list, is going to be Lucifer. Continuing with the trend, Antichrist. So this song, I like the hook a lot. I like the Marshall, he's the Antichrist. All that, the woke police are after him. Gen Z's coming to get him. Oh no. I don't really love the whole like Gen Z's coming to cancel Eminem, because it's like, I mean, some people are mad at Eminem, but I don't know. I don't think my whole generation is coming after Eminem. A lot of us grew up on Eminem. And then he gets into his chopper flow, his machine gun flow towards the end, which I really didn't think we were going to get something like this on the album, but I understand. It's Eminem, that's his thing, and like I definitely enjoy a lot of that in his catalog, so I'm not complaining really about that. Again, I think Lucifer just had a bit more direction, a bit more purpose, and so I'm going to throw this bad boy at A tier. In case you haven't noticed, I don't know if C or D tier is going to get much action on this list. I don't know. Oh my goodness. The beginning. Ooh, when I was listening to this album at first and like there was no features on it, we're just going track by track. When I put on Fuel and you hear that sample and it starts to loop, and then you hear JID go, look, oh, I got so hyped. That drop still gets me so hyped. I love this song. No question about it. JID is going insane. Eminem is going insane. This song right here is absolutely S tier. No debate about it. Fight me. The Road Rage, I'm surprised just how much I enjoyed this song. It's probably one of my favorites on the album. The only song with 2 features aside from Toby, which is an interesting note. And I think the features kill it for what they do. They don't have a massive contribution to the song, but I think they kill it for what they're there for. And I didn't expect Eminem to come after fat people. This is like a fat people diss track, Road Rage. Like the last 2 verses are all just like literally shitting on fat people. And like, I mean, I'm not here to shame anybody, but what he's saying definitely has some truth to it. Shoot, you know, I think it cut deep with me. I downloaded my Fitness Pal. I'm getting back in. Eminem was really speaking directly to me, man, and so I heard him. I heard him out. Okay, I get it. Nah, but on the real, I really do enjoy this song for what it is, and it has a message that we haven't actually heard Eminem talk about before. That's something worth noting, is we haven't heard Eminem talk about so many things on this album. It's like, okay, we've heard that okay, we've heard that all right, transphobic bars for real, like, but this right here, I'd say, is actually a real message that he feels like this actually feels like something that he struggles with in his real life, if that makes sense. Not weight issues, but the way that our culture treats people that struggle with their weight, you know, or the acceptance of it. So track 10, it's going S tier. It's going S tier. I really encourage you to let me know how you disagree with my list and what you would do different. I encourage you to tell me in the comments down below. Please let me know if I'm tripping. And then we get into Houdini, and I think I'll throw Houdini. I'm between A and S with it. I've heard it so many times. I'm going at it. I don't even care, because it really was such an impact and it got so much love, and like it was just the perfect time for M to come with this like nostalgia, and it worked so well. It's really just a quality song, even if there wasn't nostalgia built up around it. Like I've seen plenty of people saying that like he's trying to recapture the old spirit just to get another hit. I think this song would have worked even if it wasn't just like nostalgia bait, which I'm not here to debate. It's not nostalgia bait. I just said bait 4 times. All right, and then we get into Breaking News, the skit. The smooth transition from the Breaking News skit into Guilty Conscience 2, which we'll get to Guilty Conscience 2. We'll get to it. But I do appreciate that. I think that it's an important addition into the album, this whole like news report thing. It's a little tongue-in-cheek where it's like he's trying to cancel himself. So masterfully done. I'll throw it at a B, you know, like you could take take this out of the album and people would still understand every single thing that it's saying. It's just like really making sure you get what's going on here. I feel like that's the only purpose of Breaking News. And then we get into Guilty Conscience 2. Before I talk, let me just throw this up at S tier real quick, just because like right there, boom, S tier. But oh my goodness. For one, it's the slowest he's rapping on the album, which I really appreciate. You hear every single word. It really just feels like he's just talking between him and Slim. And the way that is done is so masterful. Like it really is like just this internal dialogue. There's comedy, there's punchlines, there's all this like really meaningful stuff. Like this is the whole album right here in a song, and it really cuts deep. It explains the whole Brand New Dance song. It really paints a stark difference between Eminem and Slim Shady, and it shows you a bit of his internal struggle, right? And I think it's so masterfully done. Don't get me wrong, I wish that we would have had Dr. Dre on this shit, but I understand it perfectly works as a sequel to Guilty Conscience, even without Dr. Dre, even though I would have loved to see Dr. Dre. And then Head Honcho with Easy Mill. I really appreciate this song. I think Easy Mill went crazy on it, and I didn't even realize it was Easy Mill at first. I remember Eminem did that one song with Easy Mill like a couple years ago, and I appreciated that song for what it was, but I just didn't. It wasn't on my replay. It wasn't on my playlist. Head Honcho. I think Easy Mill may have outdone Eminem a little bit. Eminem went super hard on it, don't get me wrong, but I just think that the Easy Mill came in with this crazy flow, flipped it to Spanish, came back to English, had this like awesome vibe about him, really low-key like swag. He addresses the revival hate, love that. Yeah, just all in all, really good track. I don't know if it fits into the album necessarily. I don't know how essential it is. I think I'll throw it at B tier just because it's not too essential to if that makes sense. This could have just been a single for Easy Mill, and he's putting on a dude that he messes with, so I appreciate it for that. And then we get into Temporary. Oh, this song is going to be on repeat for a long time. I'll be honest, like when I was listening to this, like it got me in my emotions, yo. Like I started tearing up. It's just like, it's so nice. Eminem's just a good dude. He's a good dad. At the beginning of the song, he talks about like, when I think about death, and it's like when he thinks about death, the first thing he thinks about is how much he's going to miss his kid. Like, that's so touching. I'm not a father myself. I hope that one day I get the privilege to be one, but my goodness, like anybody can appreciate, relate, and respect Eminem for that. Really is just beautiful. It's a beautiful song. Skylar Grey's hook does amazing. I don't understand the Skylar Grey hate. When people heard that she might be on this album, they weren't here for it, but like I don't get it for a second. Skylar Grey, fire. Y'all should look up how many songs Skylar Grey ghostwrites, okay? Like Skylar Grey is a beast, and this song is just beautiful. S tier. Fight me if you want to talk about that's not S tier. Well, you could fight me. I'll give you my ad. I will not give you my address. Woo! Bad one. Oh my god, I just heard that beat come in. There is so much bounce to this song, and right after such an emotional high on the album, I'm like really in my feels, and then that 808 comes in, that boom, just so hard, and Eminem flows like butter on this beat, and White Gold with the hook, oh my god, definitely one of my favorites on the project. Definitely one of my favorites. S tier. Don't care. Fight me. Fighting Toby. So I like Toby. It's definitely on my playlist. I definitely appreciate the Big Sean and Baby Tron verse. I remember when I was doing my last video, I saw someone compare this to I think it was I Will off of M's last album, and I see that. It's like this is the track for the spitters. This is the flex track for the dudes that just want to swag out for a minute, and I can appreciate that. There's a time and a place for it, but I don't know how well it fits in on this album, if that makes sense. Like I almost feel like they could have put Toby higher up on this album and it would have fit better, but just this placement down here with like I don't know if it belongs necessarily, but nonetheless I'm gonna throw it at an A. Just give it an A. All right, the final skit, we get Guess Who's Back. We get Kenneth Kniff, and we get another perverted remix by Kenneth Kniff except this time it's Houdini. Oh, this shit cracked me up the first time I heard it. It's really good. I really appreciate it. It's not S tier. I don't think we can put a skit as S tier, but I'll put it in A tier just because I like that a lot. I like it. And then track 19. I feel like it's S tier. Let's just get that out the way. But I feel like that was a beautiful way to close out the album. I'm so glad that he got Jelly on here. He shouted out Jelly on one of these songs too. He shouted out Jelly on Bad One. And I'm really happy that we got Jelly on an Eminem song. They need to do more though. Like this is like a sample from Jelly, and I appreciate it, and it fits so well. And this is a great Eminem track, but we need him on a real track with Eminem. This song really touched with me emotionally as well. I really appreciate it for what it is from the perspective of Eminem overdosing back in 2007. Just a beautiful track. Beautiful track. Jelly Roll's beautiful voice. So I think it tops off the album perfectly. In a way, that right there is the death of Slim Shady, right? Like Eminem sobered up after that, recovered, and was able to be there for his family, for his future. So in a way, that is the death of Slim Shady, the ending right there. And I think it's just a beautiful way to wrap up the album. Tremendous Eminem album. I already know some people are going to be like, wow, he's really talking about his overdose again. It's like, yes. Probably the hardest thing anybody could overcome in life. Okay, get over it. There's so much to draw from that, and as an artist, that's all we can ask from you, is to draw from what's most emotionally prevalent to you. What the hardest struggle in your life is where you're going to be able to draw the most art from, if that makes sense. And so that's where I'm at with the album. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Let me know if I'm just completely wrong. Let me know if I'm tripping on any of these placements. There's not a C or D on this album, and you can fight me about that. I'll show up to my house. I will give you I'm not going to give my address. But anyways, that's my album review. I love every single one of you if you made it this far, even if you just skip to the end of the tier list, because I know how you watch tier list videos. I watch them too. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out. Later.
You know, Mort, I think you're beginning to grow.
Well, sir, I don't know how much value I have in this universe, but I do know that I made a few people happier than they would have been without me. And as long as I know that, I'm as rich as I ever need to be. So I'll catch you on the rebound, your magnitude. Until next week, Nanu, Nanu.